Hi, my name is Mlw. I am a PhD student here at the Malawi Liverpool Wellcome Programme, an internationally renowned research institution that not only conducts cutting-edge research, but also trains the next generation of researchers. Now, ever since joining MLW, I've always been curious about one particular thing. How did it all start? As we celebrate the 25th anniversary of MLW, we get to find out how it all started. Follow me, will you? Hi, Professor Terry Taylor. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me today about the genesis of MLW. So I know that you and Malcolm were key drivers in establishing MLW. May he so rest in peace. But I'm also eager to know, how did the vision come about?
So we were able to start the work in the autumn of 1986. And this picture is taken in the front of what is now the Clinical Research Laboratory down in pediatrics. That was where we started our efforts. And we grew kind of slowly but surely over the next 9 years, but there was enough momentum that developed that Malcolm was able to move back to Malawi in 1995 to start MLW. So he and Liz relocated then. And so Malcolm was able to start his training of future scientists in Malawi right off the bat. And this picture shows me talking with one of our early trainees, Madalitso Tembo, in a maize field, which is now the first building of MLW. So right from the very beginning, Malcolm was committed to training the next generation and generations of investigators.
So Professor, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. Now you and I have heard about the fantastic work that was carried out in this ward. One key thing that Professor Terry Taylor mentioned was the importance of training. And so now we're going to hear about this from former trainees of MLW. So I know that you're one of the former trainees of MLW. What did it feel like being part of the first group of trainees at MLW?
As the first trainee, I should say that Malcolm Mlw had a very interesting vision of MLW. In 2002, when I joined MLW, I found out that Malcolm realized that there were no local-based researchers on the ground. Most of the trainees were those that came from UK or abroad, fellows, those that are doing their PhDs and masters were coming here to work. But we didn't have that capacity as researchers. So what Malcolm did was to recruit us from the university. So I come here with my masters, there are others that came here with their bachelors, joined, and he wanted us to learn the research from this environment. Because you can see this is a very good research environment. So he brought us here, and I can tell you that this is my first lab that I joined. We used to call this the culture lab. And I joined Stephen Gordon's project, which was a pneumonia project. So when I joined, actually where you're standing used to be my desk. So I used to sit there, and we had a flow cytometer similar to that, where we were training. So basically introducing us to research, training the local mass, so that then when we are interested in research, then we can go and take up other postgraduate. So that vision of Malcolm to train the local is where it all started. And then it went on to have this big grant to do the training grant. So we started here.
I came to MLW in 2009. I was a junior doctor in the UK at the time. as a relatively young PhD student and worked on a clinical project looking at the effects of biomass fuel on people's lungs. So working with Rose Malamba and the people in our clinical investigation unit, doing bronchoscopies, taking the results of those into the laboratory and finding out what was happening to the cells of the lung as a result of people's exposure to biomass in the home.
Good morning. So I know that you set up the joint MLW and College of Medicine training program. So what did the training program add to MLW?
I think it was a game changer in how we train in the Institute. We shifted from, small scale students were nested in teams doing PhD programs to really training candidates across all the disciplines that we work in our research at MLW.
What funding support has been available to train the next generation of researchers since the establishment of the training program?
So we got a generous support from Wellcome. They invested £2 million in training funding in the last core grant. And that allowed us to, with a strategy, focusing on investing that money actually in internships, not fellowships for training, internships that allowed candidates to work in research and become competitive to apply for their own training fellowships. And that's allowed us to really get the most out of that amount of money.
How competitive is MLW becoming?
I think we can be very confident that we are actually very competitive. I think that's shown by the success rate of our trainees in securing their own MSc fellowships, their own PhD fellowships, their own postdoc fellowships, in calls that are internationally competitive. So I think we can be confident that we are delivering on our vision to train the next generation of researchers here at MLW.
I remain fascinated by how much MLW has achieved over the past years. Listening to all the stories about its research and training just goes to show how the past shapes the present. Today, MLW has grown both in terms of its research and training.
If you look at what we have achieved, it's just been phenomenal in the last 7 years. Right now, 83% of all trainees in this institution are Malawian and 53% are female. So we've managed to boost the number of trainees, largely Malawian trainees. We have 52 PhD trainees at the moment, and I think about 30 at MSc level. We've got several pre-MSc and pre-PhD interns, and this is phenomenal. So MLW is a partnership between Kamuzu University of Health Sciences, formerly College of Medicine, the University of Liverpool, Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine in the UK, but also the Wellcome Trust. And Wellcome is essentially the funder of this program. But another strong partner is the Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital and indeed the Ministry of Health in general.
What a journey this has been, sailing through the past and the present. What does the future hold for MLW?
The Creator project is an exciting project for us, and Creator is actually an abbreviation for the Clinical Research Excellence and Training Open Resource. The purpose of the project is really in what the meaning is. We're building a facility that will enhance training and research, but the openness is that we will allow people from the hospital and trainees from KUHES to access the building, especially those who are doing postgraduate training in the medical specialties.
And what does the future hold for me? I think the future looks bright.